Hello and welcome to the mission statement of the Crime and Sacrifice podcast. My name is Brianna, and I will be your host. I wanted to kick things off by discussing what to expect from this show. Things like format and the topics we'll cover. It's also important to me to talk about why I'm making this show, to explore some ethical questions that I've grappled with when it comes to releasing more true crime content into the world, and why I ultimately came to the conclusion that this is valuable. I know some people don't have these reservations and kind of just want to get to the cases, which is why this is an easily skippable mission statement. So if you're already comfortable with your love of true crime, and you just want to get to it, let me give you the accelerated version of what to expect so you can jump right into episode 1, which goes live on May 4th. When it comes to format, a new episode will drop every Monday morning, alternating between a true crime episode and one about extraordinary heroism. Sometimes there will be some crossover. Just a heads up that the true crime cases will be much longer, 30 minutes to an hour. The stories about good people and heroes will be shorter, averaging about 10 minutes, maybe a little more. This isn't necessarily how I'd want it, but it's kind of how it's panned out as I've started recording these. There's just usually a lot less information out there about the cases of people acting in ways that are good. But the cases I've chosen are no less extraordinary and worthy of attention than the true crime stories, and are sometimes even more incredible. So that's a good overview of the show. You've got all the information you need if you want to just jump right into the content with episode 1. And for anybody that does want to hear more about why I created the show, I'll get into some of that now. Maybe it's obvious based on the fact that I'm making a podcast about true crime, but there's something about these stories that has always fascinated me, has caused me to hunt down new podcasts, documentaries, and it's something that a lot of people close to me haven't fully understood. It makes me question, why do I want to know about these cases? Many of them are awful, horrific. Is it some deficiency with me that makes me able to listen to the details of these cases and want to keep listening? Am I fucked up for seeking this information? As a community, are we glorifying criminals and re-exploiting victims? I've thought about it a lot. And ultimately, though I don't think it's as simple as a yes or a no answer, I also don't think accusations like this are valid. What is often the most overwhelming feeling that I have when listening to these cases is a very strong empathy for the victims. They are me, in a sense. They're often women. They're often pretty normal. And there's something about hearing what they went through that makes me feel like maybe I can offer them some understanding or support that transcends location and time. And that empathy or desire to bear witness to what they went through seems valuable to me. I think about what I would want if I was the victim, and while I acknowledge that everybody is different, I would want people to know what I went through, to acknowledge it, even the worst of it, as long as it was empathy and support that was the driving motivation. And I know that a lot of people in this community share these feelings. You can see it in the passion they have to solve cases and to surround living victims with love. I've seen it. And I think that is the driving motivation, or at least the most important one. Another thing, for me, there's something about knowing the evil that some people are capable of that makes me feel like I'm wearing armor. Not looking away from it feels like I'm challenging the evil that exists in some people. Fuck you, serial killers and murderers and rapists. I'm not scared of you. I know you, and I see you for who you are. Humans. You're not monsters. You're people. And I know that people are capable of great evil. There was a time in my life where I felt mainly hatred for these people, and sometimes that's still all I feel. But the truth is that I also have compassion for the people who commit these crimes. By destroying people and severing connection, they will probably never know true beauty or love. That sounds like hell to me. So, while I reserve most of my compassion for the victims of these crimes, I don't want to forget that not all of these killers are just pure evil psychopaths, that maybe some of these labels aren't helpful, and I wonder, could things have gone a different way? Could those people still be reached? And that brings me to a larger point about why I'm covering cases of heroism in addition to crime. We are capable of great evil and of incredible good, though most of our actions will fall somewhere in the middle. So this was my motivation in trying to find stories of sacrifice. Many of the people that I'll be covering for these cases wouldn't classify themselves as heroes. It's not like one incredibly good act makes it so that you're always a good person. And I would argue that the reverse is also true. The reason these episodes are shorter is because oftentimes it's a lot more difficult to find resources or news articles covering these cases, and often because of the humility of those involved. But I still want to cover these cases and do them justice by including what facts I can find. I actually believe that people tend toward goodness more than evil. I don't have any evidence for that other than my own experience of the world, and I could be wrong. My hope is that by presenting also stories of sacrifice and good deeds, that this will give listeners a more accurate view of humanity. By considering both extremes, I feel like we can see how vast the spectrum really is. That seeing it is beneficial because it can lead to small changes that push us toward one end of the spectrum or the other. And hey, it's possible that there are some potential heroes and potential killers in the audience. The point isn't what's in your head, how selfless or how dark it might be. The point is what you choose to do, and I think all of our small actions in life lead us to the person we ultimately become. What kind of person will you choose to be? Thank you so much for listening to this mission statement, and welcome to the Crime and Sacrifice podcast.